In fourth grade, one of the ways that we have for checking to see if a sentence is complete or incomplete is a little phrase, okay? The phrase is, I believe that. So we have a phrase in fourth grade, and the phrase is, I believe that. If you say, I believe that, and then you read the sentence, that will help you to figure out, is this a complete sentence or is this an incomplete sentence? Okay? So we're going to check the first one. We already know that it's a complete sentence because it has the check mark for us, but we're going to test it. So, I believe that today is the first day of school. If you put it all together, it makes sense. That means that it's a complete sentence. If I check sentence 2, and again, we already know it's an incomplete sentence, but we'll hear it right now. I believe that, so happy to be here today. That doesn't make sense because it's missing our subject. We don't know who is so happy to be here today. Sentence 3, I believe that I packed a great lunch to bring on my first day. Again, altogether, it makes sense. It's fine. And then 4, again, we already know it's wrong, but if I test it, I believe that the best day ever to begin fourth grade. Again, it doesn't sound right. There's something missing. So if you notice that something is missing, it's because it's either going to be missing the subject, which is who is the sentence talking about, or what is the sentence talking about, or it's missing the predicate. What are they saying about that subject? What's going on? It could be something the subject is doing. It could be something that the subject is saying or feeling or thinking or anything like that. Okay? So we're going to practice the first box, but on the second day. And again, we're going to do this together, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the sentence. Then I'm going to read it again using I believe that. And if you think you know if it's complete or incomplete, I want you to raise your hand, okay? So the sentence, number 1. We started fourth grade this year. Okay? Since I'm checking for complete sentences, I'm going to try it by saying, I believe that. So, I believe that we started fourth grade this year. Who can tell me, does that sound like a complete sentence or an incomplete sentence? I believe that we started fourth grade this year. Nakai, what do you think? Is it complete or is it incomplete? You can just go ahead and unmute to say the answer, Nakai. You don't have to type it out or anything. So what do you think? Is the sentence complete or incomplete? I believe that we started fourth grade this year.
Incomplete.
So you think it's incomplete? It's not complete?
No, complete.
Oh, okay, complete. You're right. This first one is a complete sentence. I believe that we started fourth grade this year. It's got a subject, we, the class, and what did we do? We started fourth grade. Okay. Make sure to mute your mic again, okay, Nakai?
Okay, but we had to do it together?
Yeah, so we're doing this first one together, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
But like, it's still loading and I can't type anything. And like,
Okay, that's fine. Just wait. You gotta be patient with it sometimes.
okay.
Okay.
And if it doesn't load, can I do it after the
Yes,
whole
sir.
meeting's over?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, next one. So again, I'm going to read the sentence. I'm going to read it using I believe that. And then if you think you know if it's complete or incomplete, I want you to raise your hand. Sentence 2. My teacher is the best teacher in town. Okay? I believe that my teacher is the best teacher in town. Who thinks they know? Is it incomplete or complete? Jaylene, what do you think? Is it a complete sentence or an incomplete sentence?
Oh, it's a complete sentence.
Get a little bit closer to the mic, baby, so I can hear you.
It's a complete sentence.
Okay, it's a complete sentence. So it's got a subject, my teacher, and what are they saying about the subject? Is the best teacher in town. Okay. Number 3, same thing. I'm going to read the sentence. I'm going to read it using I believe that. And if you think you know, raise your hand. Sitting by my friends at lunch and playing at recess. I believe that sitting by my friends at lunch and playing at recess. So if you think you know if it's complete or incomplete, raise your hand. Kylie, what do you think? Is it complete or incomplete?
It's incomplete.
You're right, it's incomplete. So this one, it says it's got a predicate, sitting by my friends at lunch and playing at recess, but it doesn't have a subject. It doesn't tell us who is sitting by the friends. You could think, well, maybe it's me, but it doesn't tell us. If you have to guess who or what the sentence is talking about, then it's not a complete sentence. A complete sentence will tell you. Okay, last one for the first box. Oh, yes, Alexa.
Do we have to do it on our computer too?
If the checks aren't moving on your computer, then yes, go ahead and move them. But if they're already moving, then you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, I'm trying to drag them, but they're not letting me drag it.
Okay. All right. Last sentence. Well, last sentence for that first box. Best year ever in the history of my school. I believe that best year ever in the history of my school. Who can tell me? Is that complete or is that incomplete? Kaylee?
I think it is actually incomplete.
This one is incomplete. So, again, it's got a predicate, best year ever in the history of my school, but it doesn't tell us a subject. What is the best year ever? Again, we can guess and we can say, oh, well, maybe they're talking about this year, but if they don't tell us, we don't know. Kylie, go to your seat, baby. All right. The next box. Again, we're going to look at our example first, and then we're going to work on it together. Circle the nouns, underline the verbs. And it says, hint, some words might be both. So we talked about nouns yesterday. Who can tell me what is a noun? When I say a word is a noun, what does that mean? Brianna, what does that mean? What's a noun?
Person, place, or thing.
Perfect. A noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So if it's a person, a place, or a thing, we're going to take one of these circles and drag it on top. Now, verbs. Verbs we didn't talk about yesterday. Let's see. Hold on just a second, Nakai. Okay. I'll see if that helps a little bit, but if not, that's all I can really do, Nakai. I can't make them any more clear because it's not blurry over here. It's just blurry through the computer is all. Verbs. Verbs are action words. They tell you what is happening. Okay? So we have some examples here. Books. Books is a noun. It's not a person, it's not a place, but it is a thing. And then learn. Learn is not a person. Learn is not a place. Learn is not a thing. It's something that you do. It's an action. Scissors, again, not a person, not a place, but it is a thing. Music, also a thing. Backpack is a thing. Friends are not a thing. They're people. So they're still a noun. Now, mark, this one has both. It's got a circle and an underline. So mark could be a noun if they're talking about like a person's name, like Mark. But if it was a person's name, it'd be capitalized. Mark could be like when you have markers or crayons or something on a table, and sometimes when you move the marker or you move the crayon, it leaves a mark on your desk or on your table, wherever it is. The other thing is, as you're moving the crayon or the marker, you're making a mark. So it can be something that you do, like when you're holding the crayon or colored pencil and you're moving it around, or it could be something that's left behind. Sing is something that you do. So it's a verb that gets the underline. Newsletter is like a newspaper. It's a thing. Teach is not a person, it's not a place, it's not a thing, it's something that you do. Desk is a thing, so it's a noun. Read is something that you do. Shine, and this one's a little bit messed up, but shine is something that you do. Like when you have very nice shoes, like dress shoes, and you want them to look nice and shiny, you have to shine them. They don't just shine by themselves. You have to put cream on them, you have to rub them, you have to buff them, polish them so they're nice and shiny. Teacher's a person, so it gets a circle. Recess is a thing. It's what we have usually after lunch. And then pledge is both a noun and a verb. Pledge is the words to the pledge, the actual thing is a noun, but when we get up in the mornings and we say the pledge, it's something that we do. So it's also a verb. Okay? So again, we're going to go ahead and try this next page together. So I'm going to say the word. If you think you know whether it's a noun or... Oh, sorry, this one's a little bit different, actually. This one says circle the common nouns and capitalize the proper nouns. So we talked about common and proper yesterday. Common nouns are nouns that could be anything. Something like girl. Girl is a common noun because there's not just one girl in the entire world, right? There's not even just one girl in this class. There's lots of girls in this class. Same thing with boy. There's not just one boy in the world. There's lots of boys. So those are common nouns. It could be any boy. It could be any girl. Proper nouns are specific. It can only be one. So instead of girl, if I said Jennifer, Jennifer is a specific girl. It's not any girl, it's Jennifer, that one girl. If instead of boy, I said something like Matt. Matt is not just any boy, it's one specific boy. So this one says if it's a common noun, if it can be anyone, then you circle it. So you drag a circle over. If it's a proper noun, what we're going to do is it says capitalize it. What we'll do is we'll just go ahead and bring an underline to it. Okay? So we know that it has to be capitalized. So backpack. Who can tell me, what do you think? Is backpack a common noun or is it a proper noun? Is it specific or can it be any one? If you think you have the answer, go ahead and raise your hand. Alexa, if it's not doing it on its own, you want to try doing it yourself, okay? Okay. Bailey, what do you think?
I think it's I forgot the answer already.
Okay. So if it's a common noun or a proper noun. Common noun means it could be anyone. Proper noun means it's one specific one.
Anyone.
Okay, it can be any backpack. It doesn't tell us which backpack or whose backpack, does it? No. So that's a common noun. The next one says Tuesday. Tuesday. Is Tuesday a common noun or is it a proper noun? Who can tell me? Common noun or proper noun? Tuesday. Can it be any day or is it one specific day? Bailey, what do you think?
One Pacific day.
It's one specific day. It's not just today or tomorrow, it's Tuesday. Now, I know there's lots of Tuesdays, but every week we only get one, right? Okay, street. Is street a common noun or a proper noun? Who can tell me? Is street a common noun or a proper noun? Kylie, what do you think? Common or proper?
Um, Proper noun?
So if I say street, do you know exactly which street I'm talking about?
No.
No. So this one's a common noun. Now if it said, I don't know, uh, Deer Street or something like that, then that's a proper noun. Because it's not just any street, it's one specific street. Because there's a lot of streets in the town, right? So you can't just tell, like if your friend was going to go over to your house, you can't just tell them, oh yeah, I live on street. Because then they're going to tell you, well, yeah, I do too, but which street do you live on? Glenbrook Elementary. Who can tell me? Glenbrook Elementary. What is that? Is that a common noun or a proper noun? Bella, what do you think?
It's a proper noun?
This one should be a proper noun because it's not just any school. It's Glenbrook Elementary. So we know what school we're talking about. The next one, laughter. What about laughter? Is laughter common or is it proper? Would laughter be common or proper? Okay, so Messiah, you're right. Laughter is common. We don't know what kind of laughter or whose laughter we're talking about here. Magic Treehouse, or sorry, the Magic Treehouse. Is the Magic Treehouse a common noun or is it a proper noun? Who can tell me? Again, if you think you know the answer, make sure you raise your hand. What do you think it would be? The Magic Treehouse, is that common or is that proper? When I say the Magic Treehouse, could it be anyone or is it being specific? If you think you know the answer, raise your hand for me. Christopher, what do you think? Common noun or proper noun?
Proper noun?
Okay, proper noun. The Magic Tree House, it's a series of books. I know there's more than one book in the Magic Tree House series, but if I say the Magic Tree House, you know which books we're talking about. It's not just any book. Classmates. If I say classmates, is that a common noun or is it a proper noun? Who thinks they can tell me? Is classmates common noun or proper noun? When I say classmates, do you know who I'm talking about, or could it be anyone? Messiah, if you think you have the answer, you gotta raise your hand, sir. Because otherwise we're just gonna have people shouting out answers and fighting over who said it first, okay? If we raise our hand, we know who goes first, and then if they make a mistake, the next person can get a chance. Classmates is a common noun. It's not being specific. If I say classmates, I don't know which person I'm talking about. It could be any classmates. Okay, what about Jesse? If I say Jesse, is that a common noun or a proper noun? Alexa, what do you think?
I think it's a common noun because there can be people who are named the same.
There can be more than one person with the same name, but this one would be a proper noun because, again, if I just said, hey, girl, 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 would you know who I'm talking to? Like right now that I called on you, I said your name, right? If I just said, yes, girl, would you know which girl I was talking to?
No, I
No.
wouldn't know.
But if I said, oh, yes, Jesse, then Jesse would know, oh, that's me. He's talking to me. So that one is a proper noun. I like that you brought that up, though. People can have the same name, but it's still a proper noun. So even though there might not be just one Jesse in the entire world, it's still a proper noun because you're being specific. There's a lot less Jessies than there are girl. And this last one, this one's a tricky one. I want to see if we can do this one. Jello. Is Jello common or is Jello proper? Who thinks they can tell me? If I say Jello, is that being specific or can that be anyone? Bailey, what do you think?
I think it could be in everyone. Yeah.
Okay. This one is tricky only because of the way that people talk. Jello is a proper noun. When I say Jello, I know probably what you're thinking of, right? When I say Jello, you probably think of that thing that if you shake it, it just wiggles and jiggles, right? Comes in all sorts of different colors and flavors and things like that. That is Jello, but Jello is the actual name of that brand, that company. The actual thing, the jiggly thing that people love to eat that's really tasty, that's called gelatin. So another example of that would be like sometimes when people go to restaurants and they're getting a soda, or they go through, McDonald's, Wendy's, whatever, and they're getting a soda, sometimes they'll say, I'll have a Coke or a Diet Coke, but they might have Pepsi. People don't normally get confused and go, but we don't have Coke. What do you want? I can't give you a soda. They usually say, oh, is Pepsi okay? Because they know that when people say Coke, they're talking about that kind of soda. So Jello would be a proper noun. Okay. This one here. My sister and I just moved to Sunnyview Elementary School. It wants us to rewrite the sentence correctly. It says compact your letters on the compact your letters on the lines and write neatly. So basically we have to fix this sentence here. My sister and I just moved to Sunnyview Elementary School. Who thinks they can find one mistake with that sentence? What's one thing that's wrong with it? And don't worry, there's more than one thing. There's more than one mistake here. Nakai, what's one thing that's wrong with that sentence?
I was gonna say something else.
Okay.
Yesterday, I saw someone else was named Kira, and my sister's name is Kira.
Okay, but for right now, Nakai, I need you to focus on the work, okay, sir?
Okay.
Okay. Who can tell me what's one mistake with that sentence? Kaylee, what's one mistake with the sentence?
It doesn't have a period.
You're right. At the end, there's no punctuation. For most sentences, we're going to end them with periods. If the sentence is asking a question, well, then we use a question mark. And if the sentence is something exciting or somebody is shouting it, then we'd use an exclamation mark. But you're right. In this case, it just needs a period. But again, that's not the only mistake. Who can give me another mistake from this sentence? Brianna, you have another one?
In the beginning of the sentence, it has to be capitalized.
Okay, the beginning of a sentence should always, always, always be capitalized. So right now that it's lowercase, there's another mistake. Who can tell me another mistake in this sentence? Bailey, found another one? Make sure if you're talking, maybe you have to unmute your mic.
I was trying to see if there was like something, but I accidentally raised my hand.
Oh, okay. Kylie, did you find another mistake?
Sunnyside view is not capitalized. Well,
Okay.
on the S in Sunnyside.
You're right. So, because this is a proper noun, we need to capitalize the name of the school. Now, it wouldn't just be like here if it was two words, we would capitalize Sunny and View. But you're right, we need to capitalize Sunny View. And then here, we would capitalize elementary school because it's still part of that name. If it was just elementary school by itself, we would leave it lowercase. Okay. It's almost fine. Still a mistake. Alexa?
The O when moved is capitalized.
Right here, the O and moved?
Yeah.
We don't capitalize the O and moved. Usually, if there's a capital letter, it's going to be the very first letter of a word. But moved is not being specific or anything. Or do you mean it looks capitalized?
It looks capitalized.
A little bit, just because of the font they're using. So it just looks a little bit bigger, but it's a lowercase one. I'm glad that you're looking out for that, though. Who can tell me? There's still a mistake left in this sentence. Nakai, you see it?
Sunny and view need to be separated.
No, Sunnyview is actually okay that way. It's kind of like how we go to Desert Air. Desert and Air are normally separated, but if it's part of that name and it's
Oh
together,
wait, no,
it's
not
fine.
that. Not that. The I needs to be capitalized.
The
Capitalized.
I needs to be capitalized. If you ever have I and it's a word, it's by itself, it needs to be capitalized. It can't be lowercase.
I did not see that. Taylor, I honestly.
So, let's go ahead and... Oh, there we go. Let's see. So we capitalized my sister and capital I. Just move to capital Sunny View, capital elementary, capital school, period. Very good. Okay. Now here, kind of similar. It says spell the words correctly. So these words are words that the way they're written right here isn't correct. There's a problem with them. So we have to fix that. So the first word says scribble. Who thinks they can tell me what's wrong with that word scribble? How would I spell it correctly? Alexa, how would I spell it correctly?
Maybe adding another B.
Okay, so it's mostly correct, but the problem is that they only put one B instead of two. And we should have two B's. So here, Scribble. Okay. Now, this next one is actually kind of like a trick question. Paddle is actually already spelled correctly here. Paddle should have 2 D's in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and write the same thing. But the next one is, or does have a mistake. Waffle. We don't spell waffle W-A-F-L-E. Who can tell me, how would you spell waffle correctly? Brianna, how would you spell waffle correctly?
Waffle.
Okay, perfect. Just like what they did with Scribble, they forgot to put a second letter. So there should be 2 F's. Waffle. Okay? Now the next one is kind of tricky. It looks correct, or it looks okay. It's dropped. Who can tell me, how would you fix the word dropped? How should it be spelled? Nakai?
It's supposed to be spelled DROPPED.
Perfect. Just like the other ones, there's supposed to be 2 letters. In this case, 2 P's. So we saw the same kind of mistakes in these words here. So we have scribble with 2 B's, waffle with 2 F's, and dropped with 2 P's. And each time they kept forgetting that second letter. So some of the words we have to remember, you need 2 of that letter. Okay, the last one is just a multiple choice question. Okay, it says what change is needed, if any. It's kind of like what we did up here, except there's one mistake here, one mistake in the sentence, or there might be one mistake, and they want us to see if we can find it. The sentence is, did you get your work finished today? Period. So they give us some options. Answer choice A, change did to did. And if I look really carefully, and I'll zoom in here, if I look really carefully, I can see the difference with did and did. Who can tell me what's the difference between this did and the second did? What did they do differently? Bailey, what did they do?
So it's supposed to be capitalized, but they think they put it for one of the questions on was for lowercase
Okay, so they changed it from a capital to a lowercase
on the question.
on the question. Here, answer choice B says change finished to finished. Again, if I look really carefully, I can see a difference here. What's the difference between this finished and this finished? Brianna, what's the difference?
The second one is spelled wrong.
The second one is spelled incorrectly. What did they do with the spelling, Brianna? How did they change it?
They added a T.
They added a T instead of an ED at the end. And like Brianna pointed out, this second finished is not spelled correctly. If they have a change, and I know that they want to change it to something that's wrong, should I add a mistake into a sentence?
No.
No, I shouldn't add extra mistakes. I should make sure that the sentence is correct. So this one, I'm already thinking, you know what? I don't like this. So I'm going to go ahead and, let's see. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and, no, wrong one. I'm going to cross this out. I don't like this. Shouldn't have a T at the end. C, change the period to a question mark. Here, they want this period to be a question mark. So they want us to change the punctuation at the end. And answer choice D says to make no change. They think the sentence is perfect the way it is. Who can tell me which answer choice seems like the best one to pick? Should it be A, B, C, or D? What do you think, Alexa?
I think the answer choice should be C.
C. Why do you think C? Change the period to a question mark.
Because they're asking a question.
They're asking a question. Anytime you're asking a question, you want to end it with a question mark. That's why it's in the name. Okay, so that's our second page. Now, like I said, this first one we did together because it's the first time we ever did this. But you notice we still have 2 more pages on here. So the next few days, we're going to start doing it where we'll be doing it a little bit on our own. We'll still check it together. That way, if you make a mistake, you can always fix it together. Okay? All right.